morning, everyone. Glad you could make it to our presentation. I will be making some forward-looking statements in this presentation, the risks for which are detailed in our various EDGAR and CEDAR filings. Novagold has the Donlin Gold project in southwestern Alaska. It's a 40 million ounce deposit that I'll detail in the slides coming up. We are very fortunate to be on private land that was designated for mining activities many years ago. I wanted to start by speaking about our 2022 drill program. It has been a resounding success. This was the largest program in 15 years. And as you can see here, the drilling was comprised in the ACMA and Lewis deposit, which is on the left-hand side. And we did some tight-spaced grid drilling that you can see highlighted in the circles. We just issued the final assay results with VRIC, who's our 50-50 partner on the project, on January 19th. And we also issued our financial results last week on Wednesday and held a webcast, which is also available on our website. I would welcome you to have a look at that. You can also hear from our chairman and our largest shareholder, Thomas Kaplan, who speaks about the gold sector. So a great webcast and call for information on the company and the gold sector. The drill program consisted of 141 drill holes, over 42,000 meters drilled during the season. It required 150 people at site, the majority of which were all local hires from 24 different villages in the YK region, which is quite a substantial big region that we do a substantial amount of outreach to. As you can see here, we had some excellent intercepts during this program. We had 40 meters grading over 30 grams per ton with subintervals of 13 meters at over 50 grams per ton. So some of the best results we've seen at Donlin, further reinforcing the deposit that we have, and also quite nice to see that it reinforces what we had seen in the mineralization and the geology of the deposit. So we will now take that information and update the resource model. We'll then finish the trade-off studies that we have, and then we'll be in a position with VRIC to make a decision on updating the feasibility study. So that would be the next steps that we'll be focused on in 2023. We've done decades of government engagement and stakeholder engagement in the region. This is done with our native corporation partners, Calista and TKC. It requires a substantial amount of outreach. We oversee 64 villages in the region, and so we need the help and engagement from our native corporation partners to get the broader reach. And they have their shareholders in that region. And this project was developed through the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act for the benefit and economic prosperity of their people. I was with them a few weeks ago. We were discussing strategy for the next year. So it's really great to have good partners. I've been with the company for 11 years and spend a lot of time in Alaska engaging with our various stakeholders. And so really appreciate and value the opportunity to be in Alaska on the Donlin Gold project. You can see here a picture of Senator Murkowski. She has been an advocate for Donlin, and she's there with Christina Woolston, who heads our external affairs and government affairs for the project. We also have Sullivan and the governor that have been advocates for the project through many years and are supportive and engaged in many of the aspects of our outreach, both in Washington, D.C. and at the state level. Permitting has comprised an extensive effort over more than 10 years. We received our federal permits through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and BLM in 2018. Since then, on the right-hand side, you can see the list of permits that we've received, the state permits. The focus this year will be on the dam safety certificate. We commenced the work a few years back. It is quite a lot of work on the geotechnical and engineering side, so that'll comprise some of our drilling this year that we'll be doing. It's not on the critical path, but it is quite an involved process that you don't really begin until you're further ahead and looking to proceed with development. So why would you invest in Novagold? Beyond having the balance sheet, which I'll speak a bit further, and the partnerships with VRIC and with our native corporation partners, having the leverage to gold through Donlin Gold, really excellent management that has built and developed some of the largest assets in the world and who have experience working for the majors in the industry. We also have shareholders that have been invested for a long time that we're quite thankful for, some of which over a decade, so large institutional shareholders that have just been alongside and really look at this as a leverage play on gold through Donlin Gold. So through Donlin Gold, you have size with the 40 million ounces, you have grade, you have leverage, you have the jurisdictional appeal of being in Alaska, and you have upside potential with exploration beyond the 40 million ounces that are already defined. So starting with size at 40 million ounce, you'd be looking at production of about 1.1 million ounces a year over the life of mine, which is 27 years, which is by far the largest of the development assets that we see in the Americas on this chart. In addition to size, you have grade. At 2.25 grams per ton, it's double the average grade in the industry and really helps when you're going through different cycles to have sustainability over a longer period of time. This chart is probably one of the most important. What you see on the image at the top is the 8-kilometer gold mineralized belt. The 40 million ounces is contained in the Acma and Lewis pit that you see in gold, and that's 3 kilometers of that 8-kilometer gold mineralized belt. And so a lot of upside. Some of these, like Dome and Snow and Quartz, have been drilled, but would have a lot of opportunities to do a lot more drilling. We've been, over the last number of years, just focused on the deposit itself. Not many mines have started with 40 million ounces, and so our view is we needed to do all the work to have it really set up for development with all of our parties. Here you see quotes from both leadership of our Alaska Native corporations that we have. So we have Andrea Augusti with TKC and Andrew Guy with Chalista Corporations. They have been involved for over a decade with their respective Native corporations and really want to enact the vision of their elders in advancing this for the prosperity and the benefit of their people in a responsible fashion that preserves the land, given that these individuals live a subsistence way of life. And so they value that, and we value their input in this process has been extremely valuable in having a better understanding of the land and hiring their people and giving them opportunities. This is almost like third world conditions. It is fly in, fly out, and a lot of these individuals are living well under the poverty line. So it would be good for them to have economic development opportunities in the region. So this is a snapshot of our balance sheet. We have $126 million in cash. We have not needed to do a financing in over 11 years. We've really been fortunate to have the funds needed to steadily advance Donlin through permitting and all the studies that we've done over this period of time. The last financing was done in early 2012, and we have sufficient funds in place to take us all the way through completing a feasibility study, so up to a construction decision. We also have $25 million coming in from Newmont. That's as a result of the sale of the Galore Creek property that we did a few years back. And we have another amount that we could be receiving if they choose to go into production. This year's budget is at $31 million, and that would involve the geotechnical work for the dam safety certificate, trade-off studies, and to update the resource model, also for external affairs activities and government engagement. So here's a snapshot of our market cap, but also our major shareholders. We have over 70% of our shares issued and outstanding that are in our top 10 shareholders. So this is Fidelity. This is the majority of which is in Will Danoff's contra fund. We have Paulson. We have BlackRock. the Saudi PIF, also Exor, and a number of other shareholders that have invested alongside the company for many years that we engage with more than quarterly. So there's a substantial amount of engagement effort. Our market cap's about $2.1 billion on the New York Stock Exchange or $2.8 billion on the TSX. We trade on average over 1 million shares daily. I will close just by letting you know some of the upcoming catalysts. We're updating our resource model, completing some of those studies that I mentioned, and we'll be deciding on proceeding with an updated feasibility study. Thank you very much.